I'm getting on. I'm coming to the end of my career. And as a younger person, I was very ambitious to grow everything. There's a view in capitalist culture that you have to grow to exist as a business. Well, I found that you don't. I found that the most important thing is to be in some sort of equilibrium with work and to feel part of it. It's about authenticity. It's about being convinced of what you're doing and not doing something that's at odds with what you feel, and to give that energy to the people who I teach. So for me, it's about creative energy coming from me, being given to the students to help with their creative exploration. I find people very quickly go through a transformation. The most fulfilling thing that I do in the pottery is to take people who are perhaps a little unsure of themselves, and I find that even very quickly, within 2 or 3 weeks of coming to the pottery, they are feeling enormously fulfilled by what they're making themselves. It's not to do with me, it's to do with them. It's them finding that inside themselves, bringing it to their development, and I'm just here to help them along that path. It's a really fulfilling thing to do for me. COVID-19 has really taught us just how much stress we can be under. I don't know about everybody else. I went through 2 or 3 weeks of complete fear at the beginning, and then I went through 6 or 8 weeks of complete peace, which was fantastic. Silence around us, long walks, all the stories that we've read about. And now it's back to work and there's a sense of urgency and tension again. I think people need to find that space where they can stop, where they can really treat themselves generously and kindly and think about things and enjoy the creative process without getting too much stress, without competing. There's no competition involved. Some of the most creative things I've ever done have been in business, strangely. So coming up with a really good idea for how to deal with a problem or how to develop a new product have been very fulfilling. For other people, it's not about that. Certainly, when you create something, you instill in that thing part of yourself. And for me, clay, which is dug up out of the ground, it's very inert, needs to be imbued with energy. And when you create, you're instilling your own energy in the thing that you make. And that thing, even if you dug it up 500 years later, would still contain that energy. If you go to a museum and you see a very ancient piece of artwork, it still contains that creative energy. For me, the creative journey is the process of learning how to do that so that when you have the inspiration, you can make it happen. I believe really strongly that if you can access your creative self, you're going to open your lungs and you're going to breathe more oxygen. You're going to feel more relaxed, less stressed, and you're going to feel more confident. With more confidence, people can cope with change. They can find change, and we're all really looking for change now in our lives. And I believe that coming to Kinsale Pottery, experiencing this creative space, gives you the chance to think about change and to lose that level of stress which we all have at the moment. When somebody decides they'd like to have a go at pottery, most of the people, the first thing they say to me is, I'm not very creative. And so I always pour cold water on that and say, look, everybody's creative, you just have to find it. But what I do know is that people are able to learn the skill of pottery. So the basic skills are not about creativity, they're technical skills, they're not difficult to learn. And once you have those in your armory, then you can go ahead and make things. It's a bit like learning to drive a car. When somebody starts to learn to drive, they're worrying about the gear stick and the feet and the whole workings of the car. And then when they have that, they can forget about it and they can look at where they're going. And exactly the same thing happens here. People come to the pottery, they learn the basic skills, and once they have those in their skill set, then they can start looking out into the big wide world and coming up with really interesting and creative things. And it's a long journey. I'm 35 years doing it, and there are many, many older people than me who are busy making pots, and every day is a new technique and a new idea, a new creative process.